Instead of being in the hectic day-to-day, let's sit down and read our Torah portion. For this week, it will be Lecha. Thank you for joining me. Shalom, shalom, Mishpachah, and we are in Genesis chapter 12 for the Torah portion through 17, the last verse. And Yahweh said to Abram, "Go yourself out of your land, from your relatives, and from your father's house, to a land which I show you. And I shall make you a great nation, and bless you, and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. And I shall bless those who bless you, and curse him who curses you. And in you all the clans of the earth shall be blessed." So Abram left as Yahweh had commanded him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he set out from Haran. And Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their possessions that they had gathered, and the beings whom they had acquired in Haran. And they set out for the land of Canaan, and they came to the land of Canaan. And Abram passed through the land to the place of Shechem, as far as the terebinth tree Moreh. At that time the Canaanites were in the land. And Yahweh appeared to Abram and said, "To your seed I give this land." And he built there an altar to Yahweh who had appeared to him. And from there he moved to the mountain of Beth-el, and he pitched his tent with Beth-el on the west and Ai on the east. And he built there an altar to Yahweh and called on the name of Yahweh. And Abram set out, continuing toward the south. And a scarcity of food came to be in the land, and Abram went down to Mitzrayim to dwell there, for the scarcity of food was severe in the land. And it came to be, when he was close to entering Mitzrayim, that he said to Sarai his wife, "See, I know that you are a fair woman to look at, and it shall be, when the Mitzrayites see you, that they shall say, 'This is his wife,' and they shall kill me, but let you live. Please say you are my sister, so that it shall be well with me for your sake, and my life be spared because of you." And it came to be, when Abram came into Mitzrayim, that the Mitzrayites saw the woman, that she was very fair, and Pharaoh's officials saw her and praised her before Pharaoh, and the woman was taken to Pharaoh's house. And he treated Abram well for her sake, and he had sheep and cattle and male donkeys and male and female servants and female donkeys and camels. But Yahweh plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. And Pharaoh called Abram and said, What is this you have done to me? Why did you not inform me that she was your wife? And why did you say, She is my sister? And so I was going to take her for my wife. Look, here is your wife. Take her and go. And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away with his wife and all that he had. So Genesis 13. And Abram went up from Mitzrayim into the south, and he and his wife and all that he had, and Lot with him. And Abram was very rich in livestock, in silver and in gold. And he went on his journey from the south as far as Bethel, to the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Ai, to the place of the altar which he had made there at first. And there Abram called on the name of Yahweh. Now Lot, who went with Abram, also had flocks and herds and tents. And the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together, for their possessions were great, so that they could not dwell together. And there was strife between the herdsmen of Abram's livestock and the herdsmen of Lot's livestock. And at that time the Canaanites and the Perizzites dwelt in the land. Then Abram said to Lot, Please let there be no strife between you and me, and between my herdsmen and your herdsmen, for we are brothers. Is not all the land before you? Please separate from me. If you take the left, then I go to the right, or if you go to the right, then I go to the left. And Lot lifted his eyes, and saw all the plain in the Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere, before Yahweh destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, like the Jordan of Yahweh, like the land of Mitzrayim, as you go toward Zoar. So Lot chose for himself all the plain of the Jordan, and Lot moved east. Thus they separated from each other, Abram dwelling in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelling in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent as far as Sodom. But the men of Sodom were evil and sinned before Yahweh exceedingly so. And after Lot had separated from him, Yahweh said to Abram, Now lift up your eyes and look from the place where you are northward, southward, and eastward, and westward. For all the land which you see I shall give to you and your seed forever, and I shall make your seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man could count the dust of the earth, then your seed also could be counted. Arise, walk in the land through its length and its width, for I give it to you. So Abram moved his tent and went and dwelt by the terebinth trees of Mamre, which are in Hebron, and built an altar there to Yahweh. So now we read in Genesis chapter 14. And it came to be in the days of Amraphel, sovereign of Shinar, Arioch, sovereign of Elasar, Kodar Laomer, sovereign of Elam, and Tidal, sovereign of Goim, that they fought against Berah, sovereign of Sodom, Bersha, sovereign of Amorah, Shinab, sovereign of Admah, Shem Eber, sovereign of Zeboim, and the sovereign of Bela, that is Zor. All these joined together in the valley of Siddim, that is the Salt Sea. 12 years they served Kedorlaomer, and in the 13th year they rebelled. And in the 14th year Kedorlaomer and the sovereigns that were with him came and smote the Rephaim in Ashtaroth, Karnaim, and the Tzutzim in Ham, and the Emites in Shawah, Kiryathaim, and the Horites in their mountain of Seir, as far as El-Paran, which is by the wilderness. And they turned back and came to En-Mishpat, that is Kadesh, and smote all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites, who dwelt in Hatzon Tamar, and the sovereign of Sodom, and the sovereign of Amorah, and the sovereign of Admah, and the sovereign of Zeboim, and the sovereign of Bela, that is Zor, went out and joined together in battle in the valley of Siddim against Kedor-la-Omer, sovereign of Elam, and Tidal, sovereign of Goyim, and Amraphel, sovereign of Shinar, and Arioch, sovereign of Elasar, 4 sovereigns against 5. In the valley of Siddim had many tar pits, and the sovereigns of Sodom and Amorah fled and fell there, and the remainder fled to the mountains. And they took all the goods of Sodom and Amorah, and all their food, and went away. And they took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and left. And one who had escaped came and informed Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt in the terebinth trees of Mamre the Amorite, brother of Eshcol, and brother of Aner, and they had a covenant with Abram. And when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his 318 trained servants, who were born in his own house, and went in pursuit as far as Dan. And he and his servants divided against them by night, and smote them, and pursued them as far as Hobah, which is on the left of Damascus. So he brought back all the goods, and also brought back his brother Lot and his goods, as well as the women and the people. And after his return from the defeat of Kedor-la-Omer, and the sovereigns who were with him, the sovereign of Sodom came out to meet him at the valley of Shawah, that is the sovereign's valley. And Melchizedek, a sovereign of Salem, brought out bread and wine. And he blessed him and said, Blessed be Abram of the Most High El, possessor of the heavens and earth. And blessed be the Most High El, who has delivered your enemies into your hand. And he gave him 1/10 of all. And the sovereign of Sodom said to Abram, Give me the people, and take the goods for yourself. But Abram said to the sovereign of Sodom, I have lifted my hand to Yahweh, the Most High El, the possessor of the heavens and earth, not to take a thread or a sandal strap or whatever is yours, lest you should say, I have made Abram rich, except only what the young men have eaten, in the portion of the men who went with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre, let them take their portion. So thank you for joining me for this Bible reading in the Torah portion in Genesis. So have a wonderful day, and shalom, shalom.